Welcome to Bold, Bossy, and Blessed podcast. My name is Nikisa Green, and I'll be your host. You can join me weekly as I discuss and share my life, motherhood, dating, and relationships, one conversation at a time. Now let's get into it. Hey, everybody. Welcome. I am so excited to be back in front of you guys, premiering my new podcast, Bold, Bossy, and Blessed. It is so good to be back on the microphone. Let me tell you, I am so happy you guys are joining me on my podcast. So, what the intro didn't tell you is that I do have a website. So I want y'all to remember that I do have a website. It will come up on the screen at the end of the show, but it's Bold Bossy Blessed at boldbossyblessed.com. So I do want you guys to check out my website. I got some things, some exciting projects that I have coming up at in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of months that I'm excited to share with you. But I'm just so happy to be back on the microphone. All right, you all. So tonight, the first thing that we're going to talk about is just what's been going on with me, my life. As people tune in, please share this broadcast with your followers so that they can start following me as well. Hey, girl. Hey, that's my girl. Hey, Nikina. So just want to just share a little bit what the intro was saying about how my new podcast is going to feature different topics in regards to my life, and that's in regards to parenthood, raising triplets at a very young age, dating and relationships, which also includes friendships, any relationships that you have with people in general. So it just won't be about dating, which is why I put dating on there as well. So tonight, that this podcast is going to be more about my life and what's going on in life right now. And we'll get into that towards the middle of the show. But I just want to share like the last month, what I've been going through with my health. I'm starting to see that I did lose some weight. I can see it as I'm watching myself on the screen, but Corona got your girl. Okay. I was sick with COVID-19 about 3 to 4 weeks ago. I had just came back from celebrating feast in Oklahoma with my church family. And, I'm going about my business, my regular everyday routine. I go to restaurants. I normally sit on the patio. Sometimes I don't. If there's not a patio, we have to sit inside. I work out. I was going to the grocery store, getting my groceries. And then it was like one night, it was like a Monday night late. I started feeling like I wasn't feeling well. And I'm like, I couldn't determine if it was I wasn't feeling well or I didn't take my medicine, because I have medicine for different things. And I was like, what was going on? So Tuesday come. By the end of the day, Tuesday, now I'm kind of feeling like, okay, something going on with me, but I don't know what it was or what it is because it's so subtle. And then I started to get a headache that Tuesday night. Now, when coronavirus first came out, my daughter had it. And this was like real early back in March, when it was like new, when everybody was buying up all the toilet tissue and all the paper towels in the store. My daughter had got it, and she was in Illinois, and I'm here in Texas. And so I ended up flying out to Illinois to take care of her. We stayed in the hotel room, and I took care of her. And while I was there, I had gloves on and I had a mask on, but I didn't have fear, because I was thinking like, I was thinking that, well, regardless, I'm here for my daughter. So I put my life on the line for my daughter. That's what I'm going to do. So what I ended up doing is that, I took care of her and she got better and I didn't get it. And so now I'm thinking like, I didn't get it. So I'm thinking like either maybe I already had it or I'm not going to get it, or it's not what they're saying. It's not that easy to get it like they're saying. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I go, about my business throughout the summer. Still, wasn't really out. We was working from home, but I still was going to the grocery stores and different places. And then in probably like the end of June, I started like going to this restaurant. I was on the patio, or I have started having dinner weekly with my sisters that's down here, my sister friends that's down here. We started having, weekly dinners and stuff. And I didn't get it. So I'm thinking like, it's not what they said. It's not how you can get it. You can't get it the way that they're saying it. And lo and behold, here comes October, my birthday month. And back to that week, I got a headache and I have ibuprofen 800 milligram. I took it, normally knocks it out. I don't have no issues. And this time I could not get rid of this headache. And so leading into the next day, which was like Wednesday, I'm still got this headache. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And now my body is starting to feel some type of way where I could tell something was going on, but I didn't know. So I'm like, well, maybe it'll go away. Let me drink some orange juice, or let me, take some vitamins. It'll go away. Thursday is when it all came down. I was, trying to work and I couldn't work. I couldn't concentrate. My body started hurting in different areas in different ways. And I was like, thinking to myself, I'm like, am I done? Like it kind of felt like that eerie feeling where something is wrong, but you don't really know what it is. So then you kind of get scared. And so I was like, well, when the last time I felt this way, as I was driving myself to the emergency room. And I was like, well, the last time I felt this way, I had strep throat. So when I go to the emergency room, I'm like, hey, y'all need to check me for strep throat so I can get the medicine so it can start working, because this is not where it's at. And so they was like, well, we have to check you for corona first. And I was like, corona? I don't got corona. Like, you wasting your time. You wasting my time. Like, come on, let's hurry this up. Lo and behold, I ended up testing positive for coronavirus. And I know. So my co-host for my other podcast was like, you were being extra cautious and still caught it. So unfortunately, but thankfully, you made it out. Thank you. Exactly. It's like you could be so extra cautious, or just, doing all the repercussions that you doing, not the repercussions, but doing everything that you know how to do to prevent yourself from getting it. But what I realized is that I'm not in control, which that's another discussion for another day. But what I ended up doing was I tested positive for coronavirus. And when I tell you, the nurse, like my family and friends that are close to me, they already know, it may look like I'm like this tall drink of water that's intimidating, but I'm really, a soft teddy bear. And so when she told me that, I instantly tears came to my eyes, because I was like, I'm thinking about like, I have a 14-year-old daughter. And she's going to be in jeopardy. And I put her in jeopardy, because now I got it, and then she may get it. And so I got scared. And so I was like, okay, calm down, So anyway, tested positive for it. When I tell you that I could not feed myself, I had no energy. My body was achy. It was hurting. I started feeling shortness of breath. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So my daughter literally fed me soup so that I could eat, because I didn't have an appetite. I had lost my smell. I didn't tell you guys that I had lost my smell like that Tuesday. But I didn't really think nothing of it. I didn't think like, oh, you got coronavirus because you lost your sense of smell, or you lost your appetite. I didn't immediately think coronavirus. I didn't think it at all. I was like, I know I don't get it. I ain't getting it, or I already had it. So anyway, ended up being sick. Ended up getting a Z-Pack. So just want to just trying to guide you guys so you guys know what I did personally for myself. And it's the same thing that my daughter ended up getting was the Z-Pack. And I understood what she felt when she said, you know, I felt like I was dying. And when she woke up, when she finally woke up that time and was like, I don't feel like I'm dying anymore. I felt that because I was like, what in the world? It's a different type of feeling. It's a feeling that I never had physically as well when I have been sick. So, you know, it was different. And both my daughters, the one that don't live in my house, ended up, thank you, Erica. She said, wow, thank God you're okay. Thank you. And both of my daughters ended up getting it as well. Anyway, even though we tried to take all the precautions we could, they ended up getting it. But we are all fully recovered. And I do thank God for that, because there's so many people that have died from coronavirus. So I am very thankful and grateful. So on my birthday, which was October 24th, I wasn't able to celebrate. So I've been kind of celebrating this week. And that's just like using my gift cards and going to the restaurants, eating some good food, since I wasn't able to eat when I was sick. And my appetite is still picking back up. And while I was sick, I lost 5 pounds, but I didn't lose 5 pounds while I wanted to lose 5 pounds, which I'm kind of irritated about. You know, I wanted to lose the 5 pounds in my stomach area, but I lost it everywhere else, especially my legs and my thighs. And I'm like, really? So anyway, so this birthday really hit different because I'm just grateful and thankful that I'm still here. I'm alive. My daughters are still here. They're alive. So I'm just really grateful about that. Thank you. Thank you. I am still celebrating my birthday since Corona tried to take me out. Thank you. So 43 hits different when you experience that. I mean, I've had a lot of experiences in my life, which we'll be talking about on this new podcast, but it really hit different when, you know, something as deadly as coronavirus comes to try to steal, kill, and destroy. And God was like, no, not today. Thank God. So that was my story about being sick. So if you see me and you like, oh my gosh, she's skinny. That's why I lost some weight from, you know, not having an appetite and having smell and things like that from being sick with coronavirus. And so I am here and I'm happy to be premiering my new podcast, Bossy and Blessed. Make sure you subscribe to my podcast, which is just Bossy and Blessed. My producer, shout out to my producer, iDream Media. He just put my website on there as well. And then my podcast you can find it on anchor.fm/Nikisa, Nikisa-Green, Green. If you found this podcast and didn't know, that's how you are able to get in touch with me. But go ahead and subscribe to my podcast. And then I just wanted to talk about anxiety a little bit, especially with everything that's going on in the world. Dealing with anxiety. I don't know how many people have dealt with anxiety or are dealing with anxiety, but it's something that I've dealt with over a long period of my life. I can't even really pinpoint exactly when I started to have anxiety. And I know it's from some things that happened as I was coming up as a little girl, some things that happened that started the anxiety. But what I ended up doing is that maybe about 2 years ago, one of my triplets, I had triplets at 17 years old. And my oldest triplet daughter, she started dealing with anxiety. And I didn't even realize that, you know, maybe it could be generation, maybe passed down that way. And I not know it, but I remember my other triplet saying, like, Ma, you deal with anxiety. Why you didn't tell us, you know, and share with us about it? And I was like, well, it was personal. I didn't really think to share my anxiety with other people because I would always just try to get through it and live through it. And like when I say there was a time when my daughter called me from school and And I had, thank you. But it was a time when my daughter called me from school. She was in college, and it was late night, and it was maybe like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I jumped up, answered the phone, and she was crying. She had been in an accident. And so this is an example. I'm trying to like make it real clear for y'all about how easy it is to take on anxiety and have it kind of like lead your life. But she called me at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. She was going to school in Southern Illinois University at Carbondale, and she was crying on the phone. She had a car accident, and I'm all the way. I believe I was in Illinois at the time. Illinois at the time, but I could have been in Texas. So I have to get the year from her. But what I remember was me picking up the phone and it being an emergency call and my daughter needing help and me not being able to get to her and not be able to help her in the way that she needed help. So the first thing was like, okay, can you feel, do you have the activity, like when I was growing up in church, do you have the activity of all your limbs, your hands, your arms, your legs, everything moving, tell me the severity of it. And from then on, and she ended up being okay. But from then on, when I get calls late at night like that, I automatically think trouble, bad news, accidents, because I've had several more calls. As you can imagine, like I said, I have triplets, and right now they are 25. So they're grown, but they haven't always been grown. But even being grown doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean motherhood is over or parenthood is over if you're a father and you have kids. But because of that phone call, and that wasn't the first phone call, but that was just an example. But because of that, now my body automatically starts to trigger anxiety-like symptoms because of an experience that I had. And so what I recently did was I said, you know what? I am going to deal with anxiety. Anxiety will not rule my life, because with anxiety, it's also the fear. I didn't realize how much I had fear about so many things. Like, I'm that type of person that would be nervous and scared, just like this podcast. I was nervous before I came on, but I knew I was going to come on. Like, regardless of how I was feeling, or no matter about my heart beating fast and the butterflies in my stomach, I knew I was still going to do this podcast. But that didn't stop my body from reacting to what I had to do. But I am that type of person that I'm gonna do it anyway. So what I did was I was like, and this is just recently over the last couple of weeks, and this because someone has said to me, it was like, you have a lot of fear, and I'm like, I do have a lot of fear. Like, where did this fear come from? In church it used to be like, used to bind the spirit of fear, and then you didn't have fear anymore, or you felt like you didn't have fear anymore. You didn't have it in that moment, and then it come back, and then you be thinking like, okay, maybe this is a part of life. But what I did was I brought a book. It's called Rewire Your Brain. Let me get the author. The author name is Catherine Pittman, and I will put that in the comment section when this broadcast is over. But the name of the book is called Rewire Your Anxious Brain. And I was reading what happened was I was reading an article and someone mentioned that book. So I was like, let me see. And so I started reading, like, how you can read on Amazon a chapter or two. So I started reading some of the information, and then I said, I'm going to buy this book. And when I tell you, this book gives so much insight to your brain, how your brain works and how it functions. So I'm going to give like a real high level, short overview of what I've learned so far. The number one thing that I've learned is that your brain can be retrained. So right now, your body, your emotions, how you react to different things, it's not set in stone. It's just like when people say, you can reset a habit or you can start a new habit and things like that. It's the same thing that you can do. The thing that I learned is that fear and anxiety comes from two places. It comes from either your cortex giving information to your amygdala, or your thalamus giving information to your amygdala. But your amygdala is what causes the fear and the anxiety to set into your body. And so your cortex, which sits in the front lobe of your brain, it's the area that talks about, or not talks about, but it's the area that has the key role in perceptions and thoughts, and plays a key role in your consciousness. Okay. And then your amygdala is the one that triggers that fight or flight response. It triggers you if it feels like you're being threatened, or there is a real threat going on, and it will be called an emotional memory. So it's two different pathways that fear and anxiety has. And for me, it's good that the reason why I'm learning this, because I need to know the how and the why I'm thinking like this, or I do this, or I respond this way, or I react this way. And so this book is like breaking it down for me. So that's why I said I'm going to give y'all a short, brief so that you can understand. But what I'm learning from it is that not all the time our perception or our emotions that we are feeling are always true. Meaning that because of those two things, it could be something that was already planted in our consciousness, and in our process of thinking, that we continue to respond that way. And so what I've been learning is, number one, when you have an anxiety attack, or you feel like you're overwhelmed, and you feel like you have fear, and you start to have those anxiety symptoms where your heart is beating fast, or you're starting to sweat, or your stomach, you have butterflies in your stomach, just know that those things don't always have to be. And what I've learned is that the first thing is to not remove yourself from the situation, but to do deep breathing exercises, which helps with your cortex memory. And then with your amygdala, you have to retrain it by responding differently when you have those emotions. So, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say about the anxiety, but every year around the same, like different times throughout the year, my body will start reacting a certain way. And I have to think to myself, why is my body acting like this? Like, what is going on? Like, is something finna happen? Is this a warning? Is somebody finna betray me? Is somebody cheating on me? I started thinking about all types of things, reasons why my body is reacting this way, to try to pinpoint what's going on. So this is one example, but around the same time, which is 3 days after my birthday, October 27th, my body automatically, I wake up and either my heart would be beating fast, or I have butterflies in my stomach, or I feel like something is not right or something is wrong. And I'd be like, okay, well, what's today? And I'm like, oh, it's October 27th. It's October 27th is a day that my aunt passed away, and I was very close to her. And so my body has that memory stored in my brain on that day, where my amygdala reminds me, whether I'm thinking about it or not, reminds me of that day without me even thinking about it. So that's enough about the brain and rewiring, but I'm learning how to rewire my brain and my amygdala so they won't continue to trigger the fear and anxiety when there's nothing to fear or have anxiety about in those particular situations. I'm not talking about if there's a real threat, but if you have anxiety or you have fear, just know that there is options for you that doesn't include, medicine. It includes you just taking control of your body and how you react. And I was just thinking, like, God is so So I don't even know how to explain it. He's so sovereign. He's so amazing. The way that he created our bodies with these details in our brain and our blood and our DNA, and just it's so amazing how he created us. And then that leads me to talk about what's going on now, which is the election. And right now we're still waiting for different counties. They're still counting. One of the things that I was thinking of when I, saw something today where they said they might not be finished until November 12th because of the mail-in ballots, was that I was thinking to myself, and I'm not a politician, but I was thinking, like, why didn't they count the mail-in ballots when they got them and stored them, so that when this day came, the election day came, they wouldn't still be counting weeks later? Because I thought that was the whole purpose of voting early, so that they can get those in. So the people that came in on the day of, they would just have to count those people. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's what I was thinking. And so with that being said, it's like a lot of people are feeling anxiety. A lot of people are feeling indifferent about their life. They're anxious about what's going on and what to expect. And I just want to, my last topic is just, I just want to say that it is very important to take care of yourself first. Just like the airplane directions, when you get on the airplane, I done been on the airplane so many times, I know it by heart. But just like when you get on the airplane and they tell you to put your mask on first, before you even put your mask on your child, your baby, or anybody near you, because how can you help somebody else if you haven't helped yourself? And I don't mean like in a selfish way, but it's like, if I'm not giving myself 100%, how can I even dare try to give somebody else 100% when I'm barely giving it to myself? Which means that I don't even really have it to give. I'm giving out of, or I'm trying to give out an empty cup when I'm all empty, So like when you keep giving, and you don't have anything else to give, and you keep trying to give, but you're giving from an empty cup. And sometimes it's like, why do we do that? Like, it's natural. As a woman, I know we are nurturers, so it's really easy for us to get into that mode of taking care of other people. And I know me, being a young mother that had triplets at the age of 17 years old, I was a baby myself. I think about it and I be like, wow, I was 17 when I had triplets. But over the course of my life, I have always been a servant, a server, a giver, and I give, and I give to any and everything except for me, my business, and things that I need to take care of as far as my purpose in life. So trust me, I'm not like talking to y'all. I'm really just talking to myself, and y'all just be in my listening ear as I share with y'all how I feel and my thoughts. Like I said, one conversation at a time. We're going to break this thing down. We're going to break this thing down called life, one conversation at a time. And that's me sharing my testimonies of my life, how I've gotten through, and different relationships. Like I said, relationships doesn't just include romantic relationships, but also friendships, business-ships, and things like that. So I just want y'all to make sure that y'all are taking care of yourselves. Take a break from social media. Do something for yourself. Go get a massage, and just make sure they have their mask over their nose, because coronavirus does live in the back of your nose. But make sure they have their mask on, and go get that massage, go take a walk, do something for yourself, take care of yourself, complete something that you always wanted to do, take up a hobby. I'm thinking about taking up a new hobby myself. I haven't decided yet what hobby, but I am thinking about taking up a new hobby A couple of months ago, back in the summertime, I did spoken word poetry. I used to write when I was younger. I used to write all the time. And not only did I used to write poetry, I used to write raps. I thought I was going to be in this rap group with my cousin, and that didn't work out. You know, our parents, they didn't believe in us. They did not believe in us. We could be some rich rappers and living in California right now. But I just want to thank you guys for joining me on my premiere show. I have so much to talk about, so much information to share with you all, as I also get to know my audience. So this is not going to be like a one-sided thing. I know tonight I just had a lot to say, but if you have any questions, you can, put the questions in the comments. The last thing that I wanted to just go over is that I do have hey, Sierra, it's one of my triplets. I do have a book coming out, which is also called Bold, Bossy, and Blessed. And it is a book about my life, how I was able to raise triplets, how I was able to get through this life, how, just different experiences is in that book. So I want my producer to put the book back up on the screen so I can just share with y'all a little bit about the book. Right now, it is on pre-order. The book is $20, and my ebook right now, I believe, is on sale pre-order for $10. It will go up once it gets released. I will have more information as I get to the release date. Everything did get pushed back because I was sick for almost a month last month. So please bear with me. If you get the ebook, you will get the first chapter. And even if you purchase the physical book or pre-order the physical book, I'll still send you the chapter. Just make sure you include your email address so I know where to send it to. On social media, you can find me at Nikisa Green on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Nikisa Green, at Nikisa Green. So this is my website, boldbossyblessed.com, and my book is on pre-order right now. I do have some t-shirts coming out as well. It's going to be one t-shirt is going to be Bold, Bossy, and Blessed. And then I have another t-shirt that God gave me today. Producer, you can put the camera back on me. Thank you. So just wanted to share my physical copy book and let you guys know that I do have that on pre-order. And I am excited because it has taken me a long time to finally complete this project. And so I am just so excited to be sharing that with you. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast. I am on Apple Podcasts. I am on Spotify. And you can find all those different outlets if you go to anchor.fm/Nikisa-Green, and it will have those additional options to go to a different platform for the podcast, depending on what type of phone you have. I have an iPhone, so I have Anchor app, and I have the Apple Podcast as well. So you can also tune into my podcast on there. And then I will be going live as well with the podcast so you guys can see me and we can interact, and I can take questions, and stay tuned for the outro so you can hear how you can stay in touch with me. I want to just thank you guys for tuning in tonight to my first episode of Bold, Bossy, and Blessed with Nikisa Green. I want to thank my producer, I Dream Productions. You are the absolute best. And thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast. And my producer is going to go ahead and put up the outro. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Bold, Bossy, and Blessed podcast with Nikisa Green. If you would like to submit your question related to your life, parenting, dating, or relationships, you can email the show at bbbpodcast@gmail.com. If your question is chosen, I'll present it to my audience and we'll discuss it on one of my shows. Just a disclaimer, I am not a psychiatrist, nor am I a counselor. Till next week, be bold, be bossy, be blessed.